Final Fantasy Tactics is the bomb. I love these games. But sometimes I want something a little more lighthearted. Something without all the murder, betrayal, and fantasy politics. Sometimes I need Disgaea. Disgaea, Nipponichi Software's most popular franchise, also known as the sound a New Yorker makes when they can't remember somebody's name. Yeah, it was this guy. This guy. While Square was resting on their tacticular laurels during the PS2 era, NIS was going on a spree with La Pucelle Tactics, Soul Nomad and the World Eaters, Phantom Brave, and Makai Kingdom. All these releases would eventually earn NIS a place in the Guinness Book of World Records for most strategy games developed. That's all well and good, but when Disgaea Hour of Darkness dropped in 2003, NIS would find themselves suddenly thrust into the limelight as a big boy in the gaming industry.
A horse wiener? Now, that's dangerous! Guys, don't let your guard down!
People absolutely loved Disgaea, with its endearing characters and novel approach to the tactics formula, like lifting and tossing characters, the item world, and absurdly big numbers. It was so popular that it received an anime adaptation and even a short manga series. Such a shame the fourth volume never came out in English. But you already know this video isn't about the first game. Instead, I want to talk about the one I grew up with. Disgaea 2. I really like this game. Growing up in Bumblefuck, Kentucky meant I was the only kid around for miles that bought weirdo games like Disgaea 2. And what a purchase that was. I would come home from school, mute the TV, turn on the radio, and dive through the item world for hours. Playing Disgaea 2 while listening to Crazy by Gnarls Barkley is a memory that will forever live rent-free inside my skull. Oh, how about that? Released just 1 month apart from each other. Oh, by the way, if at any point during this video I abbreviate Disgaea 2 to D2, I'm talking about this. Not D2, the direct sequel to the original on PS3. Or that D2, the Dreamcast survival horror game where a girl gets violated by tentacles in the first 10 minutes. Why yes, it is Japanese, how could you tell? Disgaea 2! The peaceful world of Veldheim has been cursed by the fearsome overlord Xenon, a demon lord who is said to have slain 1,000 overlords, earning him the title of God of all overlords. This curse has been slowly draining Veldheim's inhabitants of their humanity and turning them into demons, robbing them of their morals, memories, and consciences.
All hail the Booby Kingdom! Are you okay?
It's up to Adele, the only person mysteriously unaffected by the curse, to defeat Xenon and save his family from being turned into monsters. And what's this tie-wearing battle maniac's plan of attack? To use his mother's summoning skills and bring the most feared overlord in the galaxy right to his front door and fight him. At level 1. Literally at the start of the game. This ought to be good. Unfortunately, the summoning fails and only manages to snag Xenon's level 1 daughter. Or does it? You can't tell, but I'm winking right now. Rosalind is spoiled, entitled, whiny, sheltered, and unversed in combat. But I can't help it, I really dig her. NIS games have always had really good character designs, but a big part of my fondness is thanks to her excellent English dub by voice acting veteran and vocal chameleon Wendy Lee.
Omelets? I prefer veal and truffles for breakfast.
What you eat for breakfast is besides the point, huh?
Sure, the writing isn't exactly Shakespeare, but that just makes her delivery all the more commendable.
It appears you have whipped your fans into a frenzy, as if they are on the verge of biting.
The English dub in general is filled with experienced anime voice actors, which is appropriate since the story plays out much like a 12-episode anime series. Michelle Ruff is a lot of fun as fan-favorite character Etna.
What are you lovebirds doing?
Don't make me have to bust out the hose.
I'll bet you didn't think the voice actor behind Kakashi from Naruto could pull off a really entertaining French accent for Tank.
Not on my watch, Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte.
Dude voices the Prinnies too. Man, Dave Wittenberg has some serious range.
With our work experience, we expect to be hired by kinder employers who pay a lot more, dude.
And of course, recurring character Plein Air receives a flawless voice performance as usual. You would not believe how apeshit people go over this character. This video has been my opportunity to really examine D2 and figure out what it is that made it so memorable to me. Hell, I played all the way through Atelier Iris 2 around the same age, and absolutely none of that game stuck with me. Disgaea 2's world, characters, and relationships are just memorable and likable. Even the cringy bits I've learned to just shake my head and laugh at.
Maybe he did something naughty to her. Sexual harassment.
Really? That's the voice you went with. Didn't want to workshop that one a little bit, huh? Of course, there are some issues. I noticed a few typos, which, considering the PC version is the third time this game has been released, you'd think somebody would have caught them by now. The story is in no hurry to get to the point, and I don't recommend playing the drinking game where you take a shot every time you hear the words Zenon, Father, or Promise.
Can I really fulfill all of my promises? I always keep my promises. Promise.
Your promise.
Promise. Promise. I promised.
Promise.
Promised.
Promise.
I promised.
Yes, yes, you've declared that many times.
I think they gave Disgaea 4's subtitle to the wrong game. But damn it, the story has a soul, alright? And I must admit, my soft, gooey center becomes all a titter at the barely concealed romantic tensions between Adele and Rosalind.
Didn't Adele put the flute to his mouth?
It'll count as an indirect kiss.
There's even a few story beats that are handled with a surprising amount of class. Revelations that aren't outright told to you, but if you're paying attention, will give context to mysteries or previous events. On a side note, there's an early scene where Adele tells Rosalind how he had to grow up watching his parents turn into monsters.
I grew up watching as my family slowly turned into monsters. Can you even imagine how painful that is?
Now, the manga is mostly good, harmless fun, but there's a couple pages where it takes a dark turn and shows just how painful and serious this was for him. It's really heart-wrenching stuff. Irrelevant to the game, I know, just wanted to give a little credit where it's due. These books really aren't half bad. Video games. The gameplay loop is simple. Queue up your actions for a turn by choosing from a smorgasbord of over-the-top attacks and execute. Unga Bunga strategies are more than enough to handle any fight for like 99% of the game. Formulating a well-thought-out plan of attack isn't really what Disgaea is about. It's mainly just attack. Enemies are often too dumb to press the advantage against an out-of-position unit, but they will usually go for the lowest level unit in range, so I guess there's some potential for strategizing there. No, the complexity and player engagement comes from learning how to game the system to power up and profit as efficiently as possible. It's like I say, there are people that play Disgaea and people that do this to it. Combat may be simple, but there's plenty of little tricks and mechanics that you can exploit. Ask most hardcore Disgaea fans about tower attacks and they'll likely say, oh, I never bother with them. But in my experience, they're a great way to level up a unit while keeping them out of harm's way. For a game where reincarnating back to level 1 is a thing, sometimes you need that.
Every course to an overlord begins with the beautiful art of leveling up.
See? Rosalind knows what's up. Using basic attacks with a teammate next to you has a chance of becoming a team attack, one of the advantages of standard attacks over more powerful specials. Besides dealing more damage, team-up attacks are useful for distributing experience to weaker units and for increasing the combo counter, which makes consecutive attacks against a unit deal even more damage and pumps the bonus gauge. A brilliant feature which incentivizes engaging with these systems by showering you with rewards after a fight. But there's another way to crank up that bonus gauge, and it's by utilizing Disgaea's most unique mechanic, geopanels. No, not geode panels. Geopanels. NIST first cut their teeth on this style of mechanic with the Dark Energy system from La Pucelle Tactics. It was a neat system, but it required a lot of commitment to get any use out of it and was often inconsequential. Disgaea's geopanels are a more refined evolution, and depending on the map you're on, they can change everything. They can buff units, prevent lifting, prevent entry, reverse damage so healing hurts you, give you more XP, clone your units into an enemy, fuse enemy units together, level enemies up, give you extra attacks, make you die in one hit, make a unit straight up invincible, or just give you a game over. All these effects come from geo symbols that spread their effects to the colored panels they're on. Usually they'll stay put, but sometimes they like to wander around like little hermit crabs, which can really throw a wrench into your plans, especially in the item world. Destroying a geo symbol will start a chain reaction that damages units and changes the light colored panels into the color of the symbol. If you toss around geo symbols just right, you can start a massive domino effect that just never gets old.
My life.
And it gets even better, null symbols will erase geopanels instead of changing their color. And if you can erase every panel on the map, you'll get a huge bonus gauge boost and damage all enemies on the screen. Geopanels are Disgaea's way of spicing up battles and making them more than just stat contests. Story maps often try to nudge you into a certain approach by using geopanels, but you can easily just toss a witch into range of a symbol and wreck the intended gameplay experience. Remember, there are people that play Disgaea and people who break it.
I must break you.
This does not apply to a certain map in the Colosseum, a map that will make you say, nah, it cannot be this tedious. But it is. Oh lord, it is. If you try to circumvent the intended experience here, you will be in for a rude surprise.
What have I done?
And let's be real, if you played this game, you absolutely made the same mistake. And then there's the item world, the feature that really gets those addiction juices flowing. Every item, from a piece of already been chewed gum to a sword forged in the blood of 100 virgins, has a randomly generated item world, with higher item rarity giving you more floors to conquer. Each completed floor levels up the item and boosts its stats, but that doesn't mean you have to take out every enemy. Just moving to the exit panel works just as well. Put some movement increasing boots on Tink and you'll be clearing floors like nothing. You can also subjugate any innocents that reside in the item, which doubles their level and lets you combine them or move them around to other items. Innocents can raise stats, give you more money, make you deal status ailments, make you learn special moves faster, give you more XP, increase your crit rate, all kinds of stuff. It'll make you think twice before selling an item that has a valuable innocent inside. And when I say randomly generated, I mean the item world can be a real clusterfuck. Maps will often look like that one puzzle from Undertale, and high-level pirates like to show up and crash the party. But believe it or not, even a pirate with a level that dwarfs your own can still be defeated. Thieves can deal surprisingly reliable status ailments, and poison does percentage damage every turn, so that's one way to handle it. Or you could simply lift and toss him to a panel that's disconnected from the main landmass and safely pepper him with ranged attacks. Or if you're lucky enough to have one spawn, just play the long game by making yourself at home on an invincibility geo panel, made easier by a stacking buff you get when you end a turn without moving a unit.
Nanomachine, son! You can't hurt me, Jack!
I don't think I've ever played another game where such a high-level enemy can actually be defeated not through cheese, but through clever use of mechanics. That's just one of the many addictive appeals of the item world. It's a great way to take a break from the controlled experience of story maps and embrace a little chaos. Not to mention, it is a grinder's paradise. Few things are as cathartic as a multi-hour item world dive with an OC remix playlist and a nice glass of chalky milk. Just good vibes all around. You want even more tricks? Man, I've barely even scratched the surface. You can toss a monster into your base panel, where if the units inside can defeat it, it'll permanently join your group.
Oopsie!
You can throw enemies onto each other to combine their levels into one powerful unit. You can use the base panel to reset your movement range on a turn, letting you essentially move twice as far. You can get a big stat boost by equipping the same rarity items in all 4 slots. You won't find that one in the instruction book. You can earn felonies in the item world, which are a demon's war medals, and earn a unit more XP, cheaper prices at the shop, and a higher chance of approval at the Dark Assembly. Oh geez, I haven't even mentioned that yet. Okay, basically all the things we complain about with real life politics, that is all true in the Dark Assembly. Say you want to pass a bill to make the shop start selling boots. Well, you can try your luck with the percentage chance of approval, which in my experience is complete bullshit. Or you can bribe senators to win them over. And if that doesn't work, well, you can always choose violence, but that won't be a viable option for a while, so just do what I do. Tell the game f you and save scum till you get the desired result.
Aye, aye.
Japanese culture tends to revolve around work, the notion that first you apply yourself and then you receive your reward. That same philosophy would tend to spill over into Japanese-developed video games, especially old RPGs. I mean, just look at how much grinding there is in the first Dragon Quest on NES. My dad used to say if it was fun, then it wouldn't be called work, but Disgaea does its best to defy that notion. The many hours I spent grinding the item world before finishing the main story weren't in vain, because it was all in service to a story that I very much enjoyed watching unfold. For the most part.
Now that the boring stuff is out of the way, we have more news about me. Coming up next, we have a special report with details.
I had a really good time revisiting this beloved game from my youth, and now that I've examined it through the more discerning eyes of adulthood, I can finally see what made it so compelling to my teenage self and many others. Much like my revisiting of Final Fantasy Tactics A2, I think I'm ready to close the book on this chapter of my life and move on to something else.
Whoa, Skelly boy, where do you think you're going? Quitting after the main story?
Oh no, I'm hearing voices again. Who is this?
I'm Mags, your local NIS completionist.
Oh, I get it. So you're saying there's some post-game content.
My bone brother, you have no idea what's in store. The main story is but a drop in the Disgaea bucket. For all my hardcore grinders out there, keep leveling up to your heart's content. To 99, to 999, to 9,999. If you're the kind of person who loves watching the funny numbers go up, you can unlock the Cave of Ordeals for unlimited dopamine. Boost the amount of experience you earn by making your units convicted criminals. Beat up politicians to access extra bosses. Break past level 100 on your gear by beating up this poor sap just trying to make an honest fortune-telling living. Beat up pirates for their treasure maps that will guide you to the mythical land of carnage for a nice slice of humble pie. Until you grind for 12 more hours and feel like a god. Beat up the sun! Fight the world's strongest penguin! And if you want to kick his ass, hop over to my channel and I'll tell you all about it in my guide. The world is your oyster in this statistical playground, my friends, and there are hundreds of hours to get lost in.
The voice in my head has a YouTube channel? So yeah, a little quirk of this series is that the so-called real game starts after the main story, or at least that's what everybody says. There is a slight leveling curve to keep up with on story maps, which is good since it encourages taking an item world break from time to time, but enemies don't even breach level 100 unless you want them to through the Dark Assembly, so there's no need to go bug nutty on the grinding. Post-game is your chance to take off the leg weights and see just how powerful you can become, or in my case, power up until my interest ran out. And the first step of that interest starting to wane was Axle mode. OG Disgaea had mid-boss. D2 has Axel, a washed-up has-been of a rock star who also happens to be the so-called Dark Hero, hence the subtitle of the PSP release, Dark Hero Days. I was mostly indifferent to him in the main story, where he served as a punching bag / comic relief.
You'll learn to fear dark heroes when you suffer so many ding-dong ditches and prank phone calls, you'll never be able to sleep.
Then I played through Axel mode, where not getting any breaks from his willful ignorance and absurd ego made him downright insufferable.
I've got a lady on each arm. Well, ladies, do your best
So shut the f up!
The worst kind of joke is one that was not funny to begin with, but gets turned into a recurring gag anyway. And before you say something like, well then why do you keep joking about loving chocolate milk in every video? I'm not joking. Somebody at NIS America really dropped the ball with the audio. Sometimes the volume of Axel's lines won't be consistent.
They should be making things up and telling lies. Oh, yeah, it's never been better.
The 3 characters that join you didn't get any English voice lines for battle, so they're still in Japanese. And whatever intern they dragged into the recording booth to voice Axel's brother had no business being behind a mic. He sounded okay in the main game.
What happened to the dark hero, big brother I was proud of?
But here?
Screw you, bro! I hate you!
The story is a slog, but if you can manage to suffer through it, you'll unlock the Magi Change ability for monsters in the main game, a mechanic from Disgaea 3 that lets you turn monsters into weapons with new abilities for a couple turns. Really fun abilities too. I guess the folks at NIS just had anime on the brain when they were making this content. It's downright insidious that you'll likely have already turned off attack animations by the time you start getting these really cool looking ones. Trust me, I never thought I would, but you'd be amazed how much smoother the game plays without these long animations.
Let's have fun!
Lord! Lord!
That's what we like to call big damage.
After Axel mode, you'll be spit back out into a fresh playthrough of the main story, with all your levels and equipment still intact, though you will need to unlock the playable characters again. This was when I decided to unlock all the free DLC characters, which get these vague titles to make you wonder who you're gonna get. Characters like Ashen Morona from Phantom Brave, Darky Claire from La Pucelle, Pram from Makai Kingdom, and some girl with a huge face that attacks enemies with her sheer, overwhelming younger sister presence. As for all the other post-game content, yeah, there's definitely stuff to do that might seem like a lot when you're looking at a list, but the means to access or complete said content all boils down to doing the same thing: grinding. For example, I vividly remember discovering Overlord Prié as a kid and being excited that a character from La Pucelle was here, but her level was so ridiculously out of reach that I was immediately demoralized and quit the game. It took me 40 hours to finish the main story as an adult, and likely a lot longer back then, so I was pretty burned out at that point anyway. At the very least, I wanted to beat her on this playthrough for a little closure, so I grinded. And not the fun kind you do in the item world. I mean Cave of Ordeals 4 over and over and over again. I shit you not, I once had a 3-hour grinding session in the Cave of Ordeals. Just 3 hours straight of repeatedly running the same map. And when I looked at the clock and saw it was time to get ready for work, I just kind of looked down and said, what the f am I doing with my life? D2 is a perfect game for putting your brain on power saver mode and just grinding the night away while listening to music or watching a movie. Or in my case, watching old Game Grumps playthroughs on my laptop.
Enemy far away in a foot.
Oh god, ew. Oh my god, Aaron. Aaron, what the f—
But when the compelling reward of more story progress was gone, the grinding started feeling like a waste of time. Sure, I eventually got to beat Prié, but was it rewarding or challenging? Of course not! I beat her through the power of time investment and got a few lines of extra dialogue and one piece of equipment. No strategy, no skill, no wit required. It's like playing a damn MMO. I didn't even get to add her to my party, because that too would take an amount of grinding on a whole new level from what I had just endured. Look, I'm sure there are faster ways to grind than what I was doing, but that's outside the scope of this video. You want to know how best to grind? That's what Mags is for. And even if I had been grinding at maximum efficiency, it would still feel like a waste of time. I grinded more, beat Marjorie, and got a few extra lines of dialogue and a piece of equipment. I beat mid-boss, though I guess now he's extra boss. Again, more dialogue and an ending? Whoa, slow down there, D2, you're spoiling me. Wait, it resets my story progress? Well, then I take it back. I beat Etna, extra dialogue, and yet another credit crawl to sit through. I didn't even get to keep my cool new title.
Me? A demon? That's insane!
Are you sure you're really a human?
I was actually pretty interested in trying the Land of Carnage, which is like a hard mode playthrough of the story maps, but you have to collect 16 treasure maps from pirates in the item world to unlock it. And these guys aren't guaranteed to show up. In my normal playthrough, I only collected like 5 maps. So yeah, it takes a while. I don't think Nis understands the concept of burnout. I devoted an extra 40 hours past completing the story to see if I could figure out what makes the post-game so compelling, and I've come to the conclusion that it is simply not for everybody. Disgaea post-game is for people that enjoy seeing numbers go up, like bankers and tax consultants. Me? I play a bit of everything. Hell, one look at my YouTube channel is enough evidence of that, and I just don't have the time to grind for the sake of grinding when I could be enriching myself with something way more fun than this. I've heard that 90% of Disgaea is the post-game, and if that's really the case, then I guess I only like 10% of the game, and I'm okay with that. The story and its mysteries, along with the endearing cast of characters, are a strong enough driving force to make grinding enjoyable. For something that's supposedly such a minor part of the game, it's commendable just how much effort Nis put into the story. It's no Final Fantasy VII for sure, but I did gasp and get goosebumps during that last scene before the credits rolled. It really was the perfect ending, and should a day come when I boot up Disgaea 2 again, I'll be safe in the knowledge that I can stop there without missing much.
Stop talking and trust this!
This is not the end of my Nis adventures on this channel, because there's at least one more game that I personally asked Nis America about bringing to PC that we'll be talking about soon. But until then, please leave a like if you like my style, and I'll see you next time. And of course, recurring character Pleinair receives a flaw...